Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss the application of group theory in chemistry. So there are n number of applications of group theory in chemistry, so we cannot cover in a single video. So I'm going to do the video in segmented way, and in this video we are going to discuss how the symmetry elements of any particular point groups are related with the molecular orbitals or atomic orbitals, because we know that the molecular construction is done by the presence of the atomic orbital. So how these two are related, that we are going to discuss in today's video. And another thing we are going to discuss, that is how the Raman or Iyer activity of any particular molecular point group can be measured. So let's start. So first we have to determine the point group of that particular molecule. In my previous video, I have discussed how to determine the point group for any particular molecular symmetry. You can go through it and you can get an idea about it. So first of all, you have to determine that. Then the reducible representation indicates how the bonds are affected by symmetry elements. Obviously, we know that symmetry elements are present in the point group. According to the point group, there are different variety of symmetry elements present. So how those are related, that we are going to discuss, and the involvement of irreducible representation, which we can get from the character table. Because in my previous video I have discussed about the great orthogonality theorem and how it is related with the irreducible representation of a particular point group is described. So you can go through that and you can get an idea about how the character tables are formed, are constructed, and what are the elements, what are the fundamental idea we can get from a character table. You can get the idea about it. So how to determine that which are the orbitals involved for a sigma bond in a particular molecule. So in this case, we are going to determine from the character table and obviously with the help of the group theory. So if we take an example, it will be easy to understand. So I have taken one example. I have taken CH2Cl2. So dichloromethane. In dichloromethane, all the four bonds are sigma. There is no pi bond. So we are going to get which orbitals are involved in this sigma bond formation, that we are going to detect. So for CH2Cl2, the point group is C2V. We already know about C2V. It is when it is C2V, the order of the point group is 2 into 2 equals to 4, right? So now we are going to discuss that what is the reducible representation of this particular point group with respect to this particular molecule CH2Cl2. What is the reducible representation? Okay, so then we can detect what is the effect of orbital, or which are the orbitals in this molecule is involved for the formation of this sigma bond. So first we have to write the Schoenflies nomenclature. C2V, then what are the symmetry elements present? I have written here E, C2, sigma V, XZ, sigma V, YZ. These four symmetry elements are present in C2V. Thus the order is 4. Now, we already know gamma is the representation of representation. It can be reducible, it can be reducible. So here we have determined the overall reducible representation with respect to sigma bond. Okay, so when we are going to do that, we have to consider that we know the structure of CH2Cl2, like this one. It has a symmetric group of molecular point group of C2V. That's why these 4 symmetry operations are there, and we know that 4 bonds are present. What are those 4 bonds? 2 carbon chlorine bond and 2 carbon hydrogen bond. Now, if I apply all these symmetry elements, how it is going to change the molecular structure? If I apply identity operation, what is happen? No change is going to happen. If there is no change in the system, then the number of unshifted sigma bond we have to write. Okay, so when we apply identity element, as if there is no change, so the number of unshifted bond sigma bonds are 4, because 4 sigma bonds are present. When we apply C2 symmetry, the whole system changes, like a complete rotation is there, all 4 bonds are moved. So there is no unshifted bond present in the C2 operation, that's why it is 0. So when it is sigma V xz, as we know that z is the principal axis, we consider z as the principal axis. So xz, when we consider xz, that is the molecular plane, though in this case we cannot tell it as a molecular plane, but when we consider it xz, it should contain 2 of the bonds. Among the 4 bond, 2 bond it will contain. Okay, so that means 2 bonds are unshifted, that's why the value is 2. When we do sigma V yz, that is the perpendicular one, so perpendicularly 2 bonds are possible which are unshifted, that's why the number is 2. So after that, what we have to do? So first we have derived this thing. We have to check how many unshifted bonds are present. We have to write the number. So we are going to get this table. Next thing, we need to know one formula to deduce the symmetry representation of a given time, and the formula is nx, where x is the Mulliken symbol. So now we have to check the corresponding irreducible representation. What are there? A1. So when we are checking A1, what are there? Z and x square, y square, z square. Okay, these 2 kind of orbitals are there. Z means pz. Okay, so when we consider orbitals, z represent pz, so pz orbital is involved in that. And as if because 2 a1s are there, right? So another a1 represent this part, x square, y square, z square, which is nothing but s orbital, right? Because s orbital is spherical one, so we can represent this is s orbital. Then b1, we go to b1, the values are x and ry. X is px and y is py. So what are the 4 orbitals involved in this case? From the representation of this one, we have calculated what we got, that the orbitals involved for the formation of sigma bond in CH2Cl2 system, which has the point group of C2V, S, Px, Py, Pz. These 4 orbitals are involved. So mostly this is sp3 hybridization. Okay, so this is one way how we can determine that which bonding orbitals, are involved in the bonding of a molecule. Okay, next one I have determined with respect to pi bond, because many molecules are there which has pi bonds into the system, so we need to discuss that as well. So here for the sigma bond, obviously when we are discussing any molecule, sigma bonds are there, so the procedure, same procedure you can use if the molecule has pi bond as well, because sigma bond, for sigma bond you have to use this part up to this part. Then for the pi bond you have to calculate in this two way. So pi bond changes sign across the internuclear axis. Okay, and for any given sigma bond, two different pi bonds are possible. Okay, so how are those orientation? The whole idea of this pi bond orbital involvement we are going to discuss with respect to a particular molecule, that is SO3. Okay, sulfur trioxide I have taken, and I'm going to check what is the bonding involvement of the atomic orbitals. Okay, so here first thing is, two kind of pi bond is possible, right? One is perpendicular to the sigma bond, another one is parallel to the sigma bond. So perpendicular to the sigma bond I have shown with respect to this green line. Parallel to the sigma bond I have represented with respect to the red line. Okay, so for SO3, first of all we need to know the point group. SO3, it is D3H. D3H, from the character table we'll know what are the symmetry elements present. I just have written the symmetry elements. Then two possibilities are there, right? One is gamma pi with respect to perpendicular one, and one is gamma pi parallel one. So this two way it can be segmented. When we operate E, identity, there is no change, so it is 3. C3, everything is changing. When we operate C3 with respect to this one, all the positions are changed, that's why it is 0. When it is C2, C2 means the inversion, right? Inversion of the bonding is taking place. So inversion means -1 we are representing. Okay, when complete inversion is there, then we are using -1. When shifting is there, when shift in the position is happen, then it is 0. So for the same reason, we are going to get these values out of SO3. Now, the formula we have already discussed. Same formula we are going to apply for this case. Okay. So if I apply this case, the same formula, what I am going to get? I have not done the calculation. If you use the same formula, you are going to get these values. So two cases are there. Irreducible representation of pi bonding element perpendicular to the sigma bond, irreducible representation of pi bonds parallel to the sigma bond. Okay, so for the perpendicular position, I'm going to get this thing, A2 double prime plus E double prime. So I need to check this Mulliken symbol. Yes, those are there, A2 double prime and E double prime. So corresponding orbitals are Z and Rx, Ry and Xz and Yz. So what are the orbitals, possible orbital for these two cases? From this it is Pz, and for this cases it is Dxz and Dyz. Okay. In the next one, the irreducible representation is A2 prime and E prime. We go to corresponding operation, that is Rz, and another one is this one, E prime, and I get xy and x square minus y square xy, which is dx square minus y square and dxy are involved in these cases. Okay, so from this discussion we have understood how from the character table we can determine the involvement of bonding orbital in a particular molecule. So the next application is very important with respect to CSIR NET exam as well, because this is the very important question which always come in usually in university exams as well as in NET exam. So you can determine the IR or Raman activity of any bond with respect to any character table. Okay, so how you can determine that, I am going to explain this. So it is another application of character table. Okay, so When we are going to discuss about the activity of Iyer activity or Raman activity of a particular bond, some steps we have to follow. So what are those steps? We have to determine the number of reducible representation, then number of irreducible representation. Next we have to determine the transitional, rotational and vibrational modes of a particular irreducible representation, and we have to determine whether it is Iyer or Raman active. Okay, so let's start this. It will be easy while going through the operation. Okay, so this is the formula. You can note this formula first. After that we'll do the we'll start our calculation. So contribution per unshifted atom, this is the formula we need to know. So what are those? Symmetry operation and contribution of character per unshifted atom is given. If it is E identity, the value is 3. Inverse -3. Cn principal axis 2 cos theta plus 1. Sn improper axis 2 cos theta minus 1. Sigma plane of symmetry, the value is 1. Okay, so this table we need for deduction of the reducible representation. Okay, so we know the value of theta when we do Cn is, let's say, 2, C2. So in case of C2, the value of theta is 180 degree. So if I use value of theta 180 degree, here I have the values of theta. So we can determine what is the value of C2. So let's say cos theta 180 degree, right, for C2. So 180 degree, the value is -1. Just put -1 here, -2 plus 1 -1. So the value is -1 for C2. Okay, so in this way, as if we know the value of theta, when we know it, we can always determine what is the value of the contribution of character per unshifted atom. Okay, we are going to use the formula with respect to one example. So I have taken water molecule here. So we know water molecule has 3 atoms and the point group is C2V. So what we have to write first? We are going to write the point group, and we know the symmetry elements. So E, C2, sigma xz, sigma yz. These are the symmetry elements I have written. Next thing we have to do to write the number of unshifted atom. So when we are applying symmetry operation E, then there is no unshifted atom. So the number of atoms are 3. We have written that one. When we are applying C2, because it is, we are going to consider z-axis along oxygen atom. So when we are applying C2, these 2 hydrogens are changing their position but not the oxygen atom. That's why the number of unshifted atom is 1. Sigma xz, there it is a molecular plane. That's why it is 3. Sigma yz, the plane which is perpendicular to this molecular plane, it is containing only 1 atom, oxygen, that is 1. Next one is contribution per atom. So previously I have already given you a table from where we can get the number of contribution per atom. So these are the number. I have to write this number. So only one thing is not known that we have to calculate, that is for C2. The formula is given 2 cos theta plus 1. For time saving purpose, I have already deducted the formula, and C2 is -1. So I am going to write C2 -1, and sigma, for both the sigmas, the value is 1. So I am writing 1. Now to get the total reducible representation, we have to do simple direct product. So direct product of these 2 elements. We are going to get total reducible representation by doing a direct product of this 2 part, that is 3 into 3 9, -1, 3 and 1. Now we have the number of total reducible representation with us. Next thing we have to do to convert the reducible representation into corresponding irreducible representation. So there is one formula. The formula is n equals to 1 by h summation of chi-r. Chi-r means character of reducible representation. Chi-i means characters of irreducible representation into n. So chi-r, the characters of reducible representation, we are going to get from this one. We have that number. Chi-i, that is irreducible representation, we can get it from the character table. And n is the coefficient of symmetric operator. Now we have the character table as well. So I have written the character table of C2V, and we can get these values from this character table and do the calculation. So we are doing, with respect to this formula, we are going to calculate the whole thing. So for the first one, irreducible representation A1, what we are going to get? 1 by 4. 4 is nothing but the order of the point group, 1 by 4. Then 9 into, for A1, the value of E is 1. So 1. And what is the value of symmetry, coefficient of symmetry operator? That is 1. We are writing this value. So when we follow this formula, finally we are going to get these values. After doing the calculation, we are going to get 3A1 plus 1A2 plus 3B1 plus 2B2. So these are the number of irreducible representation what we have from the total reducible representation. Now we have to do that how we can check the IR and Raman activity from this irreducible representation. Next thing, we have to determine what is the irreducible representation for translational, rotational and vibrational mode of this particular H2O molecule. So we know that XYZ, these functions are related to translational mode. Rx, Ryz is related to rotational mode. So we have to check from this character table where XYZ, Rx, Ry, Rz are present. So for translational mode, how to determine? We have to check XYZ, and we get in A1 position Z, B1 X and B2 Y. So we are going to write the irreducible translational mode is A1 plus B1 plus B2. In the same way, we are going to calculate rotational. In rotational mode, we need to check the presence of Rx, Ry and Rz, which is here in A2, B1 and B2 position. So we are going to write the irreducible representation, that is A2 plus B1 plus B2. So to get the irreducible representation of vibrational mode, we have to get the difference between the total irreducible representation and translational and rotational irreducible representation. So this is the formula: total irreducible representation minus irreducible representation of translational and rotational mode, that we have already calculated. And this one is here, the number of irreducible representation, and total irreducible representation of translational and rotational mode is this two. So we are going to get a difference out of it, and the value is 2A1 plus B1. That is irreducible representation for vibrational mode. Now we are going to check whether this vibrational mode is IR active or Raman active, or both activity it can show. So for Raman activity, we need to check the quadratic function whether it is present or not, and IR activity with a simple function, that x, y, z are Rx, Ry, Rx, Ry, Rz, that we need to check. So the values are 2A1 plus B1. The basis functions for A1 are z and x square, y square, z square. And basis function for B1 is x, Ry, xz. This shows that both the quadratic and simple functions are present in this two irreducible representation as their basis function. That's why These two irreducible representation, which are vibrational active modes, are both Raman and IR active. So in this way, you can determine the IR and Raman activity of any molecule. You need to know the molecular symmetry of that, and then you can do the simple calculation and you will achieve the result. So in next session of application, we are going to come with some other application of group theory and using character table, how to determine the transition of electrons in a molecule, that we are going to discuss. Till then, bye.